They rented a fixer-upper, and what they discovered.
She was running a barn of horrors.
Beth and Kevin Stickley say they paid rent and a security deposit for a rental home they found out only later was in foreclosure. They claim the house was also the site of a massive animal abuse and a fraud case. They say the landlord, Christina Early, was not honest with them, and they decided not to move in. They're suing for $5,000. Now, for the defense, Christina Early says she inherited the house from her grandmother. She says the house is not in foreclosure, that she's simply getting a loan modification, that she tried to work out the problems with Beth and Kevin, and now she's countersuing for $5,000 for back rent, breach of contract, and harassment.
Coming up, our Swift Justice investigators' findings on the property.
In the summer of 2009, deputies descended on her property and seized over 40 horses, and they were so hungry they were chewing the barn.
Let's go to Art Harris. Art Harris, what more can you tell me?
Well, Nancy, these prospective tenants are very lucky that they were not treated like former tenants who paid her to house and feed their beloved thoroughbred horses, only to find that she was running a barn of horrors. In the summer of 2009, deputies descended on her property and seized over 40 horses who were starving. We have photos, Nancy. I talked to one of the whistleblowers who called them in the Humane Society, and they were so hungry they were chewing the barn and their stalls. This witness told me, Nancy, that it looked like it had been chewed by beavers. She was charged with numerous counts of first-degree animal neglect and pled guilty in October 15, 2009 to 5 counts. She admitted that the animals in my care were found to be, quote, in inadequate condition and that I failed to provide minimum care. She was sentenced to 5 years probation, 80 hours community service, mental health evaluation, and treatment, and ordered to pay $45,000 in restitution, not only to the horse owners, but to the Humane Society. She was also ordered, Nancy, to have no contact with the victims, to give up all her animals, including the one horse, to her parents, and to never own horses for at least 5 years. Now, the victims that complained that she wasn't paying them restitution, so they go to the court accounting office, and the judge then orders her back to court, revokes her probation. This is in July 2010 for failing to comply with his earlier payback order. And so flash forward, 1/31/2011, when these folks are about to move in, they're worried, and they should be, because 5 days later, on February 4th, 2011, she's found guilty of 5 probation violations and sentenced to 40 more hours of community service and 6 years more probation. She would be off that in 2015. The other thing that people found, Nancy, if you look at these horses, not only were the stalls filthy, there was no hay, there were bags of bones, but she sold one of these horses and told the owner that the horse had died. That's all in the court documents, which we have right here, Nancy.
Art Harris, thanks. Did you plead guilty?
I did, but...
Just stop talking. You let these horses starve?
No, I did not let them starve.
Look! How?
They were like that when I picked them up.
And you left them like... You pled guilty.
Because I didn't have the money to go forward and trial.
You know what? Stop.
So.
You know what you proved to me? That my eyes can play tricks. Because the two of you look so pitiful, standing there listening, and you let this happen?
No.
Yes, you did. You've already pled guilty to it. And then you tried to take advantage of these two, dragging their children out there in the snow, trying to prepare this place for them to live. And then you try to sue them for money. Shame, shame, shame. You know what? Frankly, I don't believe I've said this since I started Swift Justice. You make me sick. You owe her $5,000. I can't believe you let those animals starve.
I did
Get
not let them
out.
starve.
You pled guilty. Get out. Case closed.